Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about mastering Pokemon card sets and whether you should do it. Stay tuned. All right, so should you master Pokemon trading card sets? We're going to dive into this today. I've got a nice little picture here of my Team Rocket Master set, which is actually, I found out, one card short. I unfortunately need the non-holo Dark Charizard, so if you have one, let me know. But we're going to talk about this topic today and whether or not you should master Pokemon sets. So first of all, I want to start with a disclaimer. This is all about personal preference, so you may feel differently about this than I do. You may love mastering sets, that's okay, but I'm going to talk about 5 reasons why I do not suggest mastering Pokemon card sets. Let's dive into it. So number 1 is the cost. The sheer cost can be pretty high. If we look at just the Sword and Shield era, which is about a 3-year era, in fact, it was almost exactly 3 years. If you were to master all of these sets, and you can see I've got them all broken down here on screen, it would cost you almost $14,000 to master all those sets, which is pretty expensive. It's a lot of money to put into the Pokemon hobby. You know, maybe for some people that's pretty affordable. That's not very much money, but I think for a lot of people that's quite a bit of money over the course of a 3-year period. I think a big number 2 for me is a lot of these cards that you're putting in the master set. Do you even like them? So here's an example. I've got 3 gold energy cards from Chilling Reign. One that's a little over $10, one that's like $7.50, one that's $5.50. I mean, altogether, there's like $23 worth of cards right here, and they're just energy cards. And now some people love collecting energies, that's their thing, but some people are like, I don't care, it's just an energy card, whatever. That's $23 that could have gone towards maybe a card that you really wanted, and instead it went into your master set, right? Look at Twilight Masquerade. So Twilight Masquerade came out, oh gosh, sometime this spring. I really should have looked up the exact date. I want to say it was like maybe April, May, something like that. It's been a very popular set, especially because of that Greninja EX, which has been the top chase. That card's just been slowly climbing over time. And look at the difference. If you were to buy the entire Twilight Masquerade Master set, it would cost you almost $1,000 versus if you just bought these top 4 hits from the set. The top 4 hits would be about half that, a little over half that. Now, you don't have to buy the top hits of every set. I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but I'm just giving a comparison to say here, if you just pick and choose the cards that you actually want from a set, you could save a ton of money. And you're going to end up with cards that you really want, that you actually like, and that are in your collection. Again, they don't have to be the top cards. Maybe for you, they're some of the cheaper cards, and in that case, you'll save even more money. But I wanted to use a kind of a stress test case where it's like, if you bought the most expensive cards, the top 4, you're still saving half of the value of the master set. Number 3 is the release speed. So we were talking about how Sword and Shield is about a 3-year, well, it went from February 2020 to January 2023. So that is right there at 3 years, essentially. 17 sets released in that time. That is a lot of sets. Pokemon sets just seem to come out like super high speed. And to try to master all those, I feel is very stressful. You're constantly hunting all these cards. You just barely get your master set done. Maybe you're not even done yet and the next set comes out. And I just think that constant feeling of being behind and being stressed out trying to complete this thing, I don't personally think it's worth it. Number 4 is resell. So maybe later you decide, I didn't really love that set. Like, I think a great example is like Vivid Voltage. It's a set that I don't feel like has aged very well. I've talked about it before. That Pikachu VMAX was really expensive at the beginning and it's just slowly decreased over time. You look back at it, there were some cool cards in the set like the Amazing Rares, but overall it's kind of a lackluster set. And so maybe one day you decide, I want to sell my Vivid Voltage Master set. Honestly, the problem I have with selling master sets is they oftentimes are less liquid. Usually buyers are going to want to put the master set together themselves. So a lot of times they're not actually going to buy an entire master set. So oftentimes who you're going to end up selling it to is going to be some sort of reseller, somebody that is in the business of buying collections at like 70 to 90%, and it's usually around 70%, maybe 80%, and then breaking down the cards and selling individual cards themselves to people that want to collect those individual cards or that want to master the set themselves. So you put all this effort and this work into creating the master set, and then later when you want to go sell it, you don't really get a bonus for that usually. Sometimes you can, but from what I've seen and even just looking at how many of these master sets are selling on eBay, they sell pretty slow. A lot of them just sit on the market for a long time, so they're not very liquid and you're not really getting a reward for putting all that effort in, if that makes sense. The fifth point that I wanted to cover was repeat cards. Take this Charmander from Scarlet and Violet 151. You've got the standard common card here, the non-holo. Then you have a reverse holo version of the common. And then if you're in the Japanese set, you have the Master Ball reverse holo. And Prismatic Evolutions, the English set that we're having for the Evolution set that's coming out in January, it's going to have Master Ball holos to collect. So you end up with these binder pages with 2 or 3 of the same card, just different versions of the same card. I don't know, it just feels like it's very bulky, like there's just a ton of extra waste in the set. You're getting a ton of repeats of the same card. I'm personally not a big fan. My thought is just collect the Master Balls. If that's your thing, if you like those and you want to chase those, maybe just collect the Master Balls itself and don't have to put these other 2 in the binder, Now, I do think there's some exceptions. I've obviously given you 5 reasons why I think it's not really worth mastering sets. I do think there's some exceptions. For whatever reason, I feel like vintage, especially the farther back you go, the more I actually want to master a set. So like if you think about base set, there were really no repeats at all in that set. In fact, there are no repeats in that set. Then you got Jungle and Fossil. They started to add repeats. They would have like a holo version of the rare card and a non-holo. So like take the Flareon from Jungle, you've got a holo version and a non-holo version. I didn't love how they added those repeats in there. As you go on, it kind of gets worse. So you get to like Expedition and Aquapolis and Skyridge, those 3 sets, and you've got like reverse holos and normal holos of each card that you have to collect. Similarly, like the commons and uncommons, they have a reverse holo version. And then as the ages go on, we get all of these extra repeats. And as you get to later sets, you end up getting a lot of essentially the same Pokemon over and over in the set. At least the cards are different, but like for instance, with this Monkey Dory in Shrouded Fable, you have an EX, you have an illustration rare of Monkey Dory, you have a ultra rare full art of Monkey Dory, and then you also have the special illustration rare. Now, at least these are different cards to collect, which is great, but nonetheless, you're getting a lot of repeats. And so it's like, do you really need all 4 Monkey Dory cards in the set? Maybe you only want the special illustration rare, maybe you only want the illustration rare, or maybe you're a full art collector and you only want that card. It just gets kind of tedious to try to collect all of these different versions of the cards that they offer in these new sets. I just think when you go further back and you get closer to the origin of Pokemon, those vintage sets feel a little bit more cohesive. They feel a little tighter. Maybe too, because all the cards have the same format. They all have that same windowed look right here, like this Erica's Dragonair. The rarest cards in the set, all the way down to the most common, they all have the same yellow border, little windowed, art, same structure, and it just kind of looks nice in a binder when you're flipping through it, I think. I also think another exception is special sets. So like Scarlet and Violet 151 is one of those sets where it's like, yeah, maybe you just want to go master it because it's really meaningful to you. It brought you back into the hobby. It reminds you of your childhood when you collected. Or maybe like Celebrations. Celebrations has all these cool cards, kind of reprints, if you will, from older sets, all compiled into this small little set that's pretty easy to master. I can see sets like that being worth mastering. And then also I would say like the sub-master sets, as I would call them. We already talked about the Master Ball reverse holos. Maybe you just want to put together a whole binder of the Japanese 151 Master Ball reverse holos. That'd be cool. That'd be a really cool set to have. And you're taking like the common and uncommon cards that normally kind of feel like junk, and you're getting like the rarer more valuable version of them and putting them all in a binder together. I think that's pretty cool. Also, like baby shinies, like take Paldean Fates. You have tons of baby shinies. I can't even remember how many. I want to say it's like 135 or something like that. It's a pretty high amount of baby shinies. You could just collect all the baby shinies for that set and kind of have a baby shiny master set. You know, you don't necessarily have to go collect the commons and uncommons and illustration rares and special illustration rares and full arts and golds. And, you know, you can skip all that. Maybe just go do the baby shiny master set. So those are kind of my thoughts on, you know, whether or not you should master, you know, Pokemon trading card sets. I think usually my answer is no, and I think you're going to spend a lot of money collecting things that you maybe don't even love, and it's going to be very expensive for you to do if you're trying to just do it all the time and constantly. But maybe instead pick like little subsets, or you know, maybe create your own little master set. Like maybe you're a really big Eevee fan, so you just want to go and create a whole binder of all of the Eevee art over the years. That would be really cool. You know, or a Gengar binder there. You know, I don't know if you watch Pat Flynn from Deep Pocket Monsters, but he recently did a couple of videos, like a part 1 and part 2, where he collected all of the Gengar cards in English in a big binder. I mean, I think that's really cool. Those are awesome ideas. People have been like species collectors for long periods of time. Maybe create your own master sets that are full of cards that are more meaningful and interesting to you and that you're going to enjoy collecting. But my suggestion in general would be, I don't think it's worth mastering most sets personally. I think you're going to end up kind of frustrated. You're going to spend a lot of money, and it might actually pull you out of the hobby and burn you out. I think a lot of people get burned out and they leave Pokemon because they've been spending so much money, and it's exhausting and it's stressful trying to keep up with all the set releases. Just learn to be okay with not having all the cards, not collecting them all, and just pick the ones that you really want. You know, make your own collection goals, your own master sets. That's my advice to you today. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Leave me a comment. I'd love it if you'd like the video and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100 before the end of the year. I don't know if I can quite do it, but maybe with your help we can do it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll have a lot more videos to come. We'll see you.